Hey everybody, this is Mr. Storm, and this week we are going to focus on gathering all of the assets, or rather creating and gathering all of the assets that we will need to make our original game. So I've spent a lot of time, a couple of hours this morning, just putting together all of the art that I want for the game, and I built kind of a prototype to show you why we need each of these items. So the list of items that you need are, let's scroll down here. You obviously need your main character. You should have already put that together last week. We have environmental art as well, which I added some to mine. So I added some decoration and whatnot. You're going to want your environmental art. So main character and environmental art. We also want a background of some kind. You'll see what I'm using this for in just a minute. But you want a background, you want a midground, and you want a foreground. These three things are going to make up our parallax system. Parallaxing is where when you're walking in a 2D project, the things in the far background don't move very much, but the things a little closer move a little bit, and the things that are really close move a lot. It adds some depth, and it kind of gives a simulation of 3D, which is really nice. So you're going to want some parallax artwork. Now, the way I created these is I based everything off of a 32 by 32 grid. And actually, we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's go through the list of the stuff you need. So you need your parallaxing objects, so a background, a midground, and a foreground. You need some way to end the game. So this is a machine that I made. There's a green state and a red state. The red state is whenever the game requirements haven't been met. The green is whenever they have been. So this is my end object, my machine, my terraforming machine. You want a starting object or some kind of decoration to kind of show you that this is the beginning of the game. For me, it's my crashed spaceship. So I have my crashed spaceship here. You need some kind of a collectible. For me, it's going to be batteries for the terraforming machine. And then you want an enemy. I'm just going to use a basic ice spike. Now, some of you are going to want enemies that run back and forth, that move. I am not going to be programming movable enemies, at least for the first level or two. So I probably won't cover that. But I might make a movable spike just to show you how that process works so that you can get your enemies moving. But for now, at least for my game, I'm going to have static enemies because the way my game works is there's no actual living things. And so mine all have to be static enemies. So that's all the artwork you're going to need. Let me talk about some of these bigger objects in the backgrounds here. So if we take a look at the background object here, notice that the size is 448 by 320. All right, 448 by 320. If you do the math there, that's exactly 10 32 squares tall by, 14 something, 14, 15, somewhere, 16 probably, 32 squares wide, right? I could probably do the math right here. Let's see. 448 divided by 32, it's 14. So it's 14 32 by 32 grids wide and 10 32 by 32 grids tall. The reason why I did that is because that will allow us to maintain an aspect ratio that is consistent with the old Super Nintendo system. Super Nintendo used a system called 4x3, and that meant it was 4 times, or it was for every 4 wide, it was 3 tall. That was the ratio that it used. And so we set up our camera and our project for that, and I'll show you that in a second. But basically, I just created one that was exactly the right size I needed, and then I created the art. This allows my stuff to be in scale, my artwork to be in scale. I did the same thing here. Same size, 448 by 320. That's going to be in scale. And right here, 448 by 320. That's in scale as well. Now for something like this machine, I knew I wanted it to be, 4 squares tall by what, 2 squares wide. And so I made it 64 wide by 96 tall, right? So that way it is the right size in my game. Same thing here, 96 wide by 64 tall. It's all about doing the math to figure out exactly how many squares you want it to fill. Because remember, 32, which is the grid that we use for our main character, 32 by 32 is our main character size. That is the size. So you have to think about how big do you want everything else to be in relation to your character. And there's an easy way to kind of figure that out. Let me just show you how to visualize that. So this is my prototype that I've built. This is going to be a couple of weeks in the future for you. But this is something that, this is basically the system that I've built so far, the project I've built. Notice that my character, let me show you the grid. So notice my character is about the size of one of these grid squares, right? That's exactly how big he's supposed to be. The spaceship is exactly the size it's supposed to be. The background looks like it's supposed to. My collectible is like it's supposed to, and the machine at the end is exactly the size it's supposed to be because I put everything on that 32 by 32 grid. All right. Let me show you just kind of a prototype for what we've done so far. This is kind of what your game's going to look like after a couple of weeks. My main character has an animation. He moves. He can also jump. Okay. I have a collectible with an animation. He kind of slides down the slope here. Notice that when I move, the things in the background here kind of move a little bit, and the things in the foreground move a lot a bit, right? They move a lot more. It kind of gives it that perspective where it looks like it's 3D, okay? And then my machine here is going to determine how many collectibles I've picked up, how many batteries I've collected. Now, I haven't programmed the spikes to do anything yet, but normally when I fall down that pit, I should die. But yeah, this is about as far as I've gotten. This will just give you an idea of kind of what we're making. We're making something that looks like this, okay? So you need all the artwork for that. The other thing that you need to collect are background music and sound effects for picking up a collectible, stuff like that. You want a sound effect for your running animation, you want a sound effect for your jump, and you want a sound effect for picking up your collectible. So there are 3 animations that we need, or sorry, 3 sound effects that we need, including the background animation or background sound effect. So you need 4 total sound files. You need your environment art, your character art, your enemy, your collectible, some decorations. You need your parallaxing art as well. So there's a lot of artwork that you need as well. That's why you have this whole week to work on it and make it, get as much of it collected as you possibly can. Okay. So let's see. So yeah, there'll be about 10 different things that you're required to collect this week and then turn in so that I can determine that you actually have everything you need so that whenever we start building this project next week, you actually have everything you need and you're not moving forward without collecting the art or building the art that you need in order to make this game work. All right. This is a quick video. I just wanted to show you the things that we needed to put together. One other thing, what you're probably going to want to do is collect all of your artwork in a file. So I'm going to create a folder and I'll say assets, or maybe even name the game, or say like, hey, this is the game that I'm building, and then you put all the assets. You're going to want to take all of your assets in there, drop them into a folder called assets, and then you're going to need to zip this folder together to turn it in. So you're going to want to get all your artwork and your sound effects. I haven't downloaded my sound effects yet, but you need your sound effects in there as well. There are going to be 10 or so things that you need to put in there. So yeah, 4 sound effects, or 4 sound files, environment art, character art. We're up to 6. 3 parallaxing things. Oh yeah, there's actually going to be more. So anyway, you're going to have a bunch of requirements and then you're going to, once they're all in the one folder, you're going to right click, go to send to, and then compressed folder. That's going to make a zip folder with the same name. You'll notice that it's a zip folder because it has the zipper on the outside of it. This is the folder you're going to turn in. All right. This is strictly for turning in. If you try to use your art assets out of this folder, it's not going to work. You're not going to be able to use these assets unless you extract this folder again. This is just for turning it in, so you don't have to upload each individual piece of art one after another. You can just upload the folder and then you're done. You can turn it in, you're done, right? If you do want to upload everything individually, by all means, go for it. I think there might be a limit on how many files you can upload at one time. So this may be the smarter way to go. All right. That's pretty much it. Just get all your artwork together and your sound effects and get ready for us to build a game, because we're getting there. It's coming. We're making a video game together. All right. See you guys next week.